Welcome to our social media star growth guide. Today we're going to go ahead and cover how to create a brand, how to develop brand loyalty once you have that brand, how often you should post, what you should have in those posts, how far in advance should you actually plan those posts, as well as what kind of hashtag strategy you need to have, and of course, monetization. What are the requirements? And then of course, we're going to touch on some tips and tricks that'll help you out. Let's go ahead and begin with creating our own brand. Now, when creating our own brand, we need to go ahead and identify why people should follow you. Are you an expert? When someone needs something worked on with their car, they come to you because you're the shade tree mechanic. You're the one that they knows how to get things done. When they decide to go on vacation, do they ask you for advice because you're the world traveler and you know all these different customs and you know what you have to do in and out of the airports to get through customs quicker? Is it when they want to buy a dress, they come to you because your sense of style is unparalleled, that you are the fashion guru of everyone you know? Is it that when they want to work on becoming a better basketball player, they come to you because you are the all-star in intramurals? There's all different reasons people come to different people and ask them for advice. And if someone's already coming and asking you for advice, that means you're an expert in that field. And take advantage of that, because that's one of the reasons people want to follow you, is they want to learn about what you're the best at so they can get better at it. You also want to ask yourself, do people like you? Now, you can be an expert at something and people don't like you. And if they don't like you, we need to fix why. And most of the time, it has to do with looking in the mirror. And that doesn't mean you're a bad person. What that means is that you focus a lot on yourself. And if you're focusing a lot of your content just on yourself, people aren't really going to follow. Because once again, what do people like the most? Themselves. And you really have to go ahead and make sure that you're focusing on them. And that's something we're going to touch on in just a little bit. We also need to ask ourselves, are we desirable? You know, when it comes to Instagram, I see a lot of Instagram models that focus a lot of their content on the same sex as them. And the 99% of their followers are actually the opposite sex. Well, if you're going to go ahead and actually be marketable to your different companies that are going to want co-brand opportunities with you, then you need to go ahead and start focusing on the people that are following you and take advantage of that. Some of these Instagram models I see focus predominantly on female products when 99% of their followers are males. Well, if they start talking about, you know, they knew a guy that started taking testosterone and all of a sudden this guy had more confidence and she found him attractive, right? Guess what? Now you have a co-branding opportunity with someone who has testosterone boosters. And of course, they're going to pay a ton of money to get in front of all your followers. We really need to identify why people are following us so that way we can monetize it later. We also need to go ahead and state our goals and values. Nobody wants to follow somebody who flip-flops on every issue, right? Like you may be mistaken because you see some politicians, you know, have X amount of followers, but nobody really follows them because they really like them. They follow them because of the simple fact they want to make sure the other person doesn't get in office, right? You can go back to the 2016 election, right? What a lot of people say there is they were voting on who they didn't want to get in office, not who they wanted to get in office. And that's kind of the case when it comes to politics, right? Nobody wants somebody who's going to flip-flop. They want somebody who stands in their ground. They want somebody who believes in something. And don't be afraid to explain what your beliefs are. Don't be afraid to show people what you believe in. Take pride in who you are. They are following you for a reason. Stand up for what you believe in. That's going to make a big difference, because when people know where you stand, it's a lot easier for them to really get emotionally connected to you, and that's going to help create your brand. We also need to make sure that you have that customer focus, kind of what we touched on with whether or not people like you. If you are customer focused, they're naturally going to like you. Why? Because you're focused on them. And what is the most important thing to them? them. It's always them. People care more about themselves than anyone else. It's just a natural thing. So make sure that you're looking out for them. And how do you do that? Of course, you can do polls. You can go ahead and ask them directly, hey, ask me questions, or hey, please, tell me some things that you would like to see more of. And when you do those things, that gets them more engaged. And the higher your engagement is, once again, once you get to that monetization, it becomes a huge factor. Now, when you look at these three things and you really evaluate those, you can go ahead and start to create your brand, because now you have a stance, you know why you're an expert, you know basically the people you're catering to, you start to understand what they want for content. So now that you went ahead and created this brand, that's when we're going to go ahead and move on to developing brand loyalty. Now, when developing brand loyalty, we need to look at three things. First, educating your customers. Knowledge is power. And the fact that you know more than someone else makes you feel powerful, right? It makes you feel confident. Well, those people are following you because they want to be powerful and confident within their own social circle. And when you go ahead and share that knowledge, all of a sudden they become that expert for their little group. And that makes them feel powerful. And now you're making them feel even better about themselves. You want to talk about creating brand loyalty. That is going to create brand loyalty, because you're helping them become more favorable in their group. You're helping them become more powerful in their own little social circle. And that really makes them take pride in themselves. You also never want to guess or lie about something. If they come to you for advice, acknowledge something if you're not fully aware of the answer. Acknowledge their question. Let them know that you want to investigate that fully before you give them any advice, because you care about them, and then tell them that you'll follow up with them later once you have everything. So say somebody comes to you about a new fad diet, right? And they're saying, hey, does that really work? So-and-so mentioned, this is really good, but, I really want to listen to you. You're who I trust. What do? You acknowledge it. Hey, I've heard some things about it, but, before I can tell you whether or not it's really something good, I want to do a little bit more research, because, whenever you start to change things on your diet, it can affect your body in different ways. And I want to make sure it's going to be a healthy recommendation before I recommend something. Let me go ahead and take a little bit longer to go in depth on my research, and I'll get back to you in a little bit. And those people, they're going to love you for saying that. If you just guess and it ends up being wrong, guess what happens? You lose all credibility. Now, they don't know if they should believe anything that you've said. One little thing, you could have given them 60 things of advice that were perfect, but you guess on one thing. Now, all of a sudden, they question everything you've ever told them. Do not guess. Do not lie. It can only hurt you. We also need to go ahead and make sure we're following up with our customers. We need to follow up on their progression. Obviously, they're following you to become better themselves, right? They want to become more knowledgeable. They want to be more like you. So follow up on their progress, whether it's training. Hey, how's the weight loss coming along? If it's, fashion advice. Hey, I've seen, some outfits you posted. They look pretty good. Do you really think you're getting your summer vibe down? Follow up with them, right? Just go ahead and ask them, where they're at. Are they progressing? Because when you check up on them, it makes them feel truly valuable. And ask them about your products and that you're recommending in the content. Because if you just recommend something and you don't follow up with them, then they feel like you're just selling, that you really don't care about them. And anything you recommend in the future, not really going to sell. But if you follow up with them, and even if it's a bad experience, and you follow up with them, you say, hey, what did you think of this product? And they say, well, I didn't like it because of this. Oh, you know what? I've heard some people mention that. It's not, the best for this type of person or that type of person. Sorry that it didn't work for you. I'll go ahead and mention to, the supplier that they need to change this. And that's part of the advocating for them, right? They want to feel like you're looking out for them. They want to make sure that their voice is heard. And all of a sudden, you're saying you're going to reach out to the supplier. Now, they say to themselves, listen, I'm just Joe Schmo, right? I have no influence over anybody. But when you, a major influencer, somebody they look up to, says, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and talk to that person for you. I'm going to go ahead and see if I get something changed for you. That makes them feel way more valuable. And now they feel like they're important to you. And if they feel important to you, absolutely they're going to be loyal. And the next product you recommend, guess what? They're going to try that as well because they know that you're going to listen to what they have to say. Finally, do not promote something you don't believe in. Never promote something you don't believe in. Why? It's easy to tell. Easy to tell. And when you do that, you have no trust with them, right? You have no credibility. They can easily see that it's something you don't believe in. If you're not passionate about what you're promoting, don't promote it. Don't do it. It's a trap. It'll only lead to sorrow. It'll lead to losing followers. It'll destroy your brand. Don't do it. As crazy as it sounds, sometimes it's not worth it, right? What's the old saying? Don't step over a dollar to pick up a dime. Well, that's what this is right here. If you start promoting something you don't believe in, all you can do is sabotage your brand and sabotage your influence. Don't do it. Now that we've covered that, let's go ahead and move on to how often you should actually post content. You want to make sure you don't oversaturate. What ends up happening when you oversaturate is people begin to skip or ignore your posts. However, those posts, they still end up in their feed. So it starts to annoy them and you become a nuisance. And then what ends up happening, of course, they unfollow you. Now, how difficult is it to get somebody back who's unfollowed you? Extremely difficult. It's just like trying to get a repeat customer back that has left you in sales. It takes 3 times the amount of resources in order to get that customer who has left back than to go ahead and just get a new customer. It's the same with followers. You would have to use 3 times the amount of resources in order to get that person back compared to just getting a new follower. And even then, they're not as likely to be as loyal to your brand as a new follower. So it becomes a waste of time to try and even get them back. So that's why some of you have went ahead and clicked on here, is because you're about to learn the $6,000 secret, what all these companies pay in order to try and understand what they need to get as far as an influencer, who they should spend money on, who they should actually create affiliate programs with. And that's people who follow these proven methods as far as how much you should post. When it comes to Facebook, you should go ahead and post 2 to 3 times a day. Doesn't really matter if it's actually a post or a story. Ironically, when it comes to stories, people don't watch Facebook stories as much as they do, say, Instagram stories. In fact, Instagram stories is a bigger issue with Instagram than actually just having Instagram posts. It's pretty interesting, but we'll get that in just a minute. Now, besides doing 2 to 3 times a day yourself, you want to have 2 to 3 follower posts a day as well. And you're saying, okay, well, what do you mean by that? You want to have people that are either adding funny memes, because humor actually encourages people to interact. People always love humor. Or people to go ahead and back some of the things you've stated. So if you're a fitness instructor, right? One of the things is you might want to have somebody show their progress and say, hey, working with, so-and-so fitness has made a huge impact. You never want to have them give advice, though, because then it takes away from your influence, your sphere of influence, because you are the expert in your sphere of influence. So you want to make sure that you do have 2 to 3 followers posting a day. And you say, well, how do I control that? What if I have 15 one day and none another? Pretty simple. Make sure that you have to go ahead and approve those posts whenever somebody wants to post. And that way you can do 2 or 3 that day, and then 2 or 3 a different day, and then 2 or 3 a different day. And it's a lot easier to manage when you have it where you have to approve those posts. When it comes to Instagram, you want to make sure you're posting 2 to 4 times a day. However, you want to have at least 5 to 10 stories a day. And as I kind of just touched on, your stories is more impactful on Instagram than your actual Instagram posts. People love the stories. Why? Because it gives them quick hit videos, and they love going through that. That's where people spend the majority of their time on Instagram, is actually on the stories compared to the posts. If you really want to grow your Instagram following, you really need to focus on the Instagram story part of having at least 5 to 10. Some people will go ahead and combine the 2 to 4 regular posts and just do all stories, where they end up doing 14 or 15 stories. That may seem like oversaturation, except for the fact that Instagram reduces the amount of time you have in those videos. And because of that, it doesn't oversaturate someone if they're spread out throughout the day. When it comes to YouTube, though, we're looking at 3 to 7 videos a week. Now you're saying, okay, well, why are we doing 3 to 7 a week when everything else is, 2 to 3 a day? Pretty simple. When it comes to YouTube, you need to have longer content. In fact, when we touch on monetization, we're going to touch on the fact that you need to have 8 minutes of video minimum in order to really start maximizing your income on YouTube. And that's because the amount of ads they're able to place. The longer the videos, the more ads they can do. And when it deals with YouTube's really, it's not uncommon to have 15, 20, 30-minute videos. And that's why you really need to do 3 to 7 a week. Anytime you go over 7, you're starting to take, more than 30 minutes of somebody's time per day. And that is very difficult to keep somebody following you, to have someone continue to subscribe to your content and actually be engaged, because you really are starting to take over a good chunk of their life when you exceed 30 minutes a day. When it comes to Snapchat, it's totally different. Really, they recommend 5 to 8 videos a day. However, if you're looking to make money off of the Snapchat creation content, it's a totally different ballgame than everything else out there. And what they really recommend that's been successful is that you do at least 20 days of consecutive content originally, with 5 to 8 videos a day. And it's really a complicated process in regards to how they pay. It's very secretive. We get into the details we have in the monetization part, but it's totally different than any of these other programs. It's pretty wild when you really dig into it. TikTok, you need to have at least 7 to 11 videos a day. Big reason there is because the monetization is focused on views, and you have to have so many views over a 30-day period, and that's why you need to have so many videos going all the time. And that really can be overwhelming to have to come up with 7 or to 11 videos. A lot of people obviously throw in some dance videos and do some trend things, because really what you're doing is looking to get a view of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seconds. You're not really looking for a full minute out of that. And when you get to Twitch, once again, you're looking at 3 to 7 videos a week. Reason there is because Twitch is mostly a gaming platform. And with that, you're actually going to see videos that are lasting 10, 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes. And whenever you're dealing with, once again, longer periods of time, you need to make sure you're not overexposing yourself to your clients, because what ends up happening, of course, then they start to ignore you, they start to skip your videos, and then, of course, ultimately they unfollow you. This is the $6,000 secret. This is where a lot of people are going to focus on when they're looking to do branded collaborations, when they're looking for affiliates. They're going to look for people that hit these marks. So if you really want to make money in social media, these marks, they're the marks you really have to pay attention to. Now that we got that covered, let's go ahead and move on to content. When it comes to content, we really need to focus on 3 types of content. The first is interactive content. How do you do that? Well, you want to have polls, right? You want to get people engaged where they're answering things, just like question and answers. That gets them to feel like they're truly being heard, that their concerns or their questions are truly being put out there. Now you're saying, man, I got 40,000 followers. How on earth can I do question and answers? Reality of it is most people aren't going to actually question, but the ones that do ask you the questions and you answer it, guess what? They feel their voice is heard. And of course, they become more and more loyal, and they're the ones that are really going to do the things you ask them to do in the future. You also want to make sure you're involving others, right? You want to take pictures or have stories with people other than yourself, because they see them as your friends. And these people want to be your friends. They may not know you in real life. You may live 30,000 miles away from them, but they feel like they are that friend that is in the picture with you. And they know that you like having fun with other people, and they feel like they're part of that fun, that they were there with you. Even though they weren't, they feel like they were there with you, and that's important. Now, when it comes to the amount of interactive content you should have a week, that's not something we're going to cover in this course. That's in one of our advanced programs. And because when we get into that, we're really getting into some trade secrets, and I want to make sure you're signing a non-compete, because I don't want you to learn all this knowledge that no one else in the world will teach you, and then you turn around and you start actually promoting a product that goes against us. That makes no sense. Why on earth would I would do that? So you know, this is going to help you, and it's going to help you right away, just knowing these things. You also need to know about testimonials, right? You need to go ahead and show that you've had struggles. Nobody wants to follow somebody who's had the perfect life, right? No one is a fan of the person who's been given everything. It's just not the case. When the Patriots had their big run in football, right? Very few people rooted for them outside of New England. Why? Because everybody thought, oh man, they had everything, right? So everybody started to actually root against them. In fact, some people still root against Tampa just because Tom Brady has had such a successful career, and they feel like he's kind of been gifted everything. So if they don't see struggles, if they don't see progression, guess what? They're not going to follow you. And sometimes we don't want to admit that we've struggled through anything, because you know, why would someone want to look up to us if we've had issues? But in reality, they follow you because they want to be like you. And if you've been able to overcome something and you can help them overcome that, then guess what? That's huge. They follow you for that, because now they say, okay, if you can do it and you're showing me all this stuff, then I can do it too. And those people are undoubtedly going to be loyal to you. Do not be afraid to show struggles. Don't be afraid to show your progression journey. That, you know, it did take days, it took weeks, it took months to get to where you are now. It's just not something that's going to happen overnight. It doesn't happen. If they can see progression that you've had in any aspect of your life, even if it's not what they're following you for, that definitely makes them be more engaged. It makes them want to follow you and learn different things from you. Because just like in sales, just because there may be a steel industry, or there may be a eye care industry, or it may be a fitness industry, there's certain things in sales that we all learn from, right? There's different processes that you can apply in each industry. And it doesn't matter that it's totally a different industry. You can take those same lessons, those same processes, and apply them to different industries without any issue. It's the same thing when people want to progress. If all of a sudden they see you progressing and they see some of the steps you've had to take in order to get there, then it helps them recognize that they need to take some similar steps. You also need to have positive reinforcement. You know, one of the easiest things in the world to do is give up. When things get difficult, man, you know what? It's so much easier just to go do this. I'm going to give up. People need to make sure that they have positive reinforcement. They need someone to let them know there is light at the end of the tunnel, that if you keep progressing, things will get better. Anytime you can add positive reinforcement, that's going to be huge. You also need to touch on product posts. Now, when it comes to product posts, you need to have a call to action, right? You need to be having them, go to a particular website or get a particular discount code. You need to make sure that there is something that they have to do. And when you do that, you truly see what your engagement level is. At the same time, you want to make sure that you're not posting about product more than 3 times a week. I see so many Instagram influencers think that if they post at least once or twice a day about the product, it's going to make a huge difference. No, what's that going to do? That's going to create burnout, right? That's what we kind of talked about with the content frequency when it comes to saturation? Well, you can just burn them out when all they feel like you're trying to do is push product, especially if you're pushing the same product. Oh man, don't do that. Don't push the exact same product, right? Especially you could actually go ahead and promote a product line, and you could do that 3 times a week, but make sure that it's not the exact same product. For example, with our supplements, right? You could do the pre-workout, but don't do the pre-workout 3 times a week, because people are like, oh my God, just get over it. I feel like you're just trying to push this on me. I don't want it. If you do the pre-workout, once, during the week, and then you did, the omega-3 another time, right? Then all of a sudden people are like, okay, well, there seems to be value to this whole line, right? And you really need to get into why those things are valuable, right? If you just post a product and a discount code, what the hell is that, right? People are like, okay, that's just a sale. That's nothing. How is it going to benefit me? You need to explain why it's going to benefit you. And that's why we have, that supplement section for you, that it kind of shows you what is the advantages of that product and who it's really good for. And you can go ahead and identify that whenever you're posting the product. And then, once again, like I said, don't post the same product, right? If you post the exact same product, all you're going to do is burn people out. And now that we covered that, let's go ahead and move on to planning posts and videos. Now, when it comes to planning posts and videos, I recommend you start a month in advance. It's pretty important to do that because there's so many things that come up in a day that if you don't have something planned out in advance, you're going to go ahead and mess up. You're going to not post as much as you should. You're going to go ahead and feel stressed out. It's actually going to cause mental health issues for you. You're going to feel like a failure when you end up missing one day. You're going to be scrambling, trying to figure out which type of content you should do. It's going to drive you crazy. It's actually going to become burdensome, and you're going to end up quitting instead of moving forward. You need to go ahead and review your analytics. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, everybody gives you analytics that kind of lets you see how many people are watching, how long they're watching. You can kind of see all the different interaction. And from that, you can also see if a particular type of post actually does perform better on a Monday compared to a Thursday, compared to a Saturday. And in reality, that is the case. That's something we know. That's, again, something you'll see in the advanced programs, but not something we're just going to give you right away. That's something you need to go ahead and learn if you're part of the regular program, but it's something that's going to make a huge difference for you. You need to go ahead and list topics in advance. When you're planning out 30 days in advance, you don't want to just shoot the exact episode or go ahead and have an exact post in mind, but a topic. And the reason why is you want to have some flexibility, because you also want to make sure that your posts are timely, right? If there's a current event that everyone is engaging in, it might be something that you want to weigh in on as well and try and connect it to whatever topic that you're planning on posting for that day. And that allows you to stay timely and relevant at the same time. And of course, like I said, you want to schedule your post days and your topics for those post days. So if you're doing 3 to 5 days a week, is it that you want to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Is it that you want to do Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday? Is it that you want to go ahead and do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday? Is it Monday, Tuesday, but then a break on Wednesday? You need to kind of figure out how much is oversaturation within 24 hours, 48 hours, and so forth. And you need to go ahead and start, reviewing your analytics, so that way the next month you can go ahead and schedule those a little bit better, and you can start to have more interactive posts on certain days and go from there. And that is really what you need to do when you're planning your posts. Now, when it comes to hashtags, there's really only a few things you need to know. You shouldn't attach any more than 5 to 15 hashtags per post. And you should base that off of the relevancy of that post to your overall brand. If it's not extremely relevant to your overall brand, you want to be more towards the 5 instead of the 15. Where if it's more relevant to your overall brand, of course, you want to go ahead and go for 15. You also want to make sure you're mixing small, medium, and large hashtags. Why? Well, there's the old question, right? Is it better to be a small fish in a big pond or a big fish in a small pond? Why not be both? And that's the beauty of hashtags, is you can go ahead and become the big producer of a small hashtag, and yet you can also steal some of the people that are associated with the bigger hashtags. And at the same time, you want to make sure that you're trying out new hashtags. If you continue to do the same thing, you become stagnant, right? You can't grow. But if you're trying new hashtags, you can go ahead and get new followers. You might even be able to create a trend. And if you're the trend setter, you're going to have more people follow you. But we do ask that you always attach 2 hashtags to every post. And of course, that's Sarah from Supplements and Sarah from Saints. And that way we can go ahead and get it where a community is starting to be built. And communities are extremely important. And you're going to kind of see that with monetization. Now, when it comes to monetization, you really need to know all the requirements in order to make money. When it comes to the Meta platform, you need to have at least 10,000 followers, 600,000 minutes of watch time in the last 60 days, and 5 active videos. Now, when we're talking about Meta, we're talking about Facebook and Instagram. And that's the requirements you need in order to make money off of producing content. There is 2 other ways you can make money. The first is branded collaborations. Now, with branded collaborations, you only need to have 1,000 followers. But you do have to have 15,000 post engagements, as well as 3,000 hours of watch time in the past 60 days. You also need to have 30,000 1-minute videos posted in the last 60 days. You're saying, wow, what's up with the 1-minute videos? Pretty simple. Their formula as far as getting ads involves having the video be at least 1 minute. And that's why there's a huge focus on having at least a 1-minute video. Branded collaborations is really where you're going to make money when it comes to Facebook and Instagram. Why? Because a lot of companies do niche market segmentation. And if you have 4,000, 5,000, 7,000 followers, you are probably going to have a certain niche of followers. And then they can go ahead and focus on that niche market. That's why you're probably going to make more money on Facebook and Instagram there than producing any kind of content. They also have subscriptions now. With subscriptions, you once again have to have 10,000 followers. You have to have 50,000 people engage with you within 60 days. And you need to have 180,000 minutes of watch time as well. When it comes to YouTube, it's a little bit of a different ballgame. You need to only have 1,000 followers, but you do have to have 4,000 hours of watch time. That's not minutes, hours. 4,000 hours of watch time. But you are able to do that over the course of the last 12 months. So some people say it's a smaller hurdle. Some people say it's a bigger hurdle. It all depends on how you look at it because you're dealing with hours instead of minutes. But you have 12 months to do something instead of 30 or 60 days. When it comes to videos, there is no minimum requirement. However, if you really want to maximize your income on YouTube, you need to go ahead and have 8-minute videos. And you're saying, why 8 minutes? Pretty simple. With an 8-minute video, it allows for them to do a mid-roll ad, which means they're literally getting 2 ads per video. And when that happens, of course, you're going to make more money as well. Now, what kind of money are you really going to make on YouTube? The average YouTube producer, content producer, typically makes between $3 and $10 per 1,000 views. Why is there a variance? Pretty simple. It depends on if they are clicking on the ads that are actually being presented during your video. And if they don't, then obviously it's going to be towards the lower end. When it comes to Snapchat, totally different ballgame. Totally different ballgame. We're not even talking minimum followers. We're not talking watch time. What we're talking about is having a public profile, then taking stories and sending them to the Spotlight and Snapchat. And then, if over the course of the 7 days it ends up making $250 US, then you can go ahead and start getting paid. Now, when do you start getting paid once it hits that mark? We don't know. We have no idea. They're very secretive on that. It's pretty bizarre. What's even more bizarre is you'll have one person who's made $200,000 off of a single video, and yet you have some people who have made 10,000 videos and haven't made a single dime. There isn't a rhyme or reason to how you actually make money off of the content. It's totally different than anything I've ever seen. Now, where can you really make money off of Snapchat? You can make it off of the sponsored stories. So sponsored stories actually have a higher return on investment than a lot of other forms of marketing. So if you're looking to really get in deep with a brand, then one of the things you want to do is actually focus on doing sponsored stories, because that's actually going to produce better return on investment for that company. You can also do geolocated ads, which is pretty awesome. When it comes to TikTok, you once again bump up to 10,000 followers. You need to have at least 100,000 views in the last 30 days, and that's in order to get part of their content creation program. Now, you also can earn money off of their diamond system. And the way it works with the diamond system is you have to have 200 diamonds in order to earn $1. They are looking at creating another option to earn money, and that is the tip system. But the tip system right now is only for people that have over 100,000 followers. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit of time to get to 100,000 followers. When it comes to Twitch, once again, we're looking at a little bit of a different ball game. You're going to have 50 followers and 500 broadcast minutes. You're going to have 7 unique broadcast days, as well as have an average of 3 or more concurrent people view it per stream. Pretty bizarre, right? It's something totally different, but you're also focusing on people who are really watching games for the most part. There has been some other people that have been influencers get involved in that scene, but as a whole, Twitch was created for the gamers, and that's why you're dealing with fewer followers in order to go ahead and actually get involved in making money there. Now, they do have something similar to the diamond system, which is the Twitch bit system, where they give you Twitch bits you can give out to people. And if you accumulate 100 Twitch bits, then you actually earn $1. So it's half of how many diamonds you actually need with the TikTok system. You can also make money off of games being sold from ads being played during your stream. So an ad comes up during your stream and people end up buying that particular video game. You're actually going to get 5% of that sale. Once again, with us, you get 20% anytime somebody actually purchases a product, and that's the higher end for an affiliate program. And when you get into the advanced programs, as we kind of touched on, that's when you can get to the 25, 35, and even up to 50% commission levels. And then the last way you make money with Twitch is actually ad money, ad revenue, and they pay that out every $100. So say you earned $150 of ad revenue in 1 month, you're going to get paid $100. And that 50 is going to be sitting there, and then next month you're going to have to get another 50, and then you're going to get paid that 100. You're going to end up missing money, obviously every month, just because of the simple fact that they're only paying every 100. But at least they're paying you some money off of those ads. Now, how do you really make money when you're looking to grow your social media stardom, right? Because these numbers, they're great for people who are already established, but a lot of people are not at 10,000 followers yet. And if you're not at 10,000 followers, how are you really going to make money? Well, you're really going to make money through affiliate programs. Affiliate programs are just kind of like the branded collaborations when it comes to Facebook and Instagram. People with companies obviously have certain niche markets they're wanting to focus on. And if you have 3,000 followers, if you have 5,000 followers, you can really make some money off of that. Now, with most of your affiliate programs, you're only going to be looking at 10 or 15%. However, if you've been able to produce with like our program, where you've actually made 20%, you actually have some bargaining power to then turn around and say to those other people, listen, look at the revenue I will bring in for your company. I deserve 20%. If I was Joe Schmo, you know what? Yeah, give me 10%. But I'm not that person. I'm this person. This is what I bring to the game. And because of that, I deserve 20%. And that's something that's pretty awesome, because most affiliate programs out there, they really don't know how to actually help you promote the product. That's why we have our entire ambassador program, is we really kind of take you through how to do that. Most of them just give you some samples, they wish you the best of luck and give you a discount code because they have no clue. They just send you out there and hope for the best. And if you end up helping them, great. If not, no big deal. They don't really lose anything. And that's how they treat most people. We want to actually have you become successful, not only successful with us, but successful with others. We want you to have success, because if you do, then you're able to help more people. And like I said, I can't help every single individual, but you can help others. And if I can help you help others, then indirectly I'm being able to help more people. You also will make a lot of money merchandising. Now, when it comes to our advanced programs, we have co-branded merchandise for some of our advanced programs. We also have exclusive brand merchandise for some of our advanced programs, meaning, we actually help you create your own logo, and we help create certain merchandise that you can go ahead and retail. If you don't have your own store, we'll actually be able to retail it off of our store. We'll create a little website that your people will have access to just with your merchandise, as well as some of the supplements, and then that way, of course, you're getting paid your commission off of that as well. And then finally, you want to go ahead and create community programs. You're saying, okay, well, what's a community program? Well, a community program is essentially what we're looking to do with Seraphim Saint University. We're a Christian community, so we want to work with other Christians. If we can have people that help with everyday life necessities, right? So maybe some mechanics, maybe some teachers teaching math, maybe some people who are really good with fashion or even fashion design, or people that can help with yoga, or people that can help with acupuncture, chiropractors, anything like that, then, we can go ahead and build 10,000 followers a lot easier. We can build 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 followers a lot easier. And then you can get access to all these different programs. But when you're doing that, you have to decide how you're going to break up how much money per individual in the community. And that's why we have that as part of our advanced programs, where essentially we have you produce some content, and that way you'll get paid in general. There's a certain percentage that everybody in the community will actually receive. So this is really what you need to know when it comes to growing your social media business, and where you really need to get in order to start making money. Now, we do have some tips and tricks. We're going to go ahead and put that up here shortly, and feel free to go ahead and pause it and write those down. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to us. Have a good day.